Good morning, traders. Happy Monday. Crazy start to the week already. So I have a couple of anchored VWAPs just to kind of see if we can figure out the shift and who has the momentum. So one is anchored at the current high of day, and the yellow one is anchored at that crazy news candle. So kind of hovering there, leaning towards longs. I'm really going to see what the New York Open brings, but I don't want to try to short that craziness right there. So I'm going to aim to stay with the trend and see if we can get a pullback and a good entry long. So a couple of points of interest. We have our low of day anchored VWAP right at previous session point of control at like 270, 24,270. Not a bad spot. Our session VWAP is at 124, 150. Those are big pullbacks though. I mean, that's 400 points. So really, I'm just going to see how the 15-minute opening range settles and go from there, because this is craziness. Good morning, everyone in the chat. Biggest thing I can say today is size down, not just because of the volatility or the news, but because of the range. Like, it's hard to see when you're zoomed in. But these moves are huge. Like this is the 1 minute chart right here. And just that little move up was 156 points. On a normal day, it would be probably less than half that. So size down. Don't take your normal contract sizing. We'll see what we get. Definitely don't have as much confidence as normal coming into this session. The news right now is kind of all over the place too. Like Trump tweeted something a couple hours ago saying that the war is over. But then Iran commented back and said, no, we haven't had talks. The war is not over. So, I don't know. Someone's lying because Trump is like, we're making good progress in our conversations. And Iran is like, we're not even having conversations. So, I have no idea what's going on. Market is open in about 3 minutes. Taking a look at gold. So I have this support zone right here. It's holding above that. So we could potentially look for a long if it stays above like 4,400 and holds that support. But similar to NQ, I want to see how this session opens. It bounced off this previous week value area low a couple times at 460. Got a few wicks on those 5-minute candles. It'll be interesting to see what happens when we open. I'm curious to think what you guys are watching for in the chat. You think this was all a fake move and we're just going to dump right back down? Or is the New York session going to open bullish and continue that momentum and continue with the news that apparently the war is over? Who knows? It's all a guess. Lactic acid law, it could be slow. That's actually a good point. The market could just be taking some time to process the craziness. Could be choppy for a bit. That is true. We'll find out though, because here we are. Still holding that previous week value area low. That's interesting that the news in Germany is different. I mean, I would expect that. The region that you're in, the news is always different. But that's like totally the opposite of what Trump is saying in the US. Wild. So a little bit of a choppy open so far. Not really any like clear, decisive moves. Which I guess is to be expected. Needs to process the craziness that just happened. My volume is turned off. There we go. Yeah, 48 hours to clear this straight. Based on what Financial Juice said with the response, though, that the conversations and coming to an agreement are not happening, kind of makes you wonder if this is a fake move. But I never try to trade the news anyway. Because for me, whatever in my brain makes sense for like where the market should go based on what the news is, it's always the opposite. So I have stopped trying to make sense of that and like predict the market based on news. I just trade my levels. Going a whole lot of nowhere so far. So, like I was saying pre-market, I'm really just going to wait and see how this 15-minute opening range settles. See where it finds support or resistance. Not trying to claim any biases right now. But possible bounce areas. This low of day anchor VWAP right at point of control, 288-ish. 24-100, I think, is where the gap fill would be. Couple possibilities for bounces. Our session VWAP 2 is down here at 164. Areas of resistance, I mean, it's pretty far up, but this red box up here at like 840s, 850s. If it ends up getting bullish, that could be a spot where it rejects. Pretty choppy so far, though. Stay patient, you guys. How was everyone's weekend? Anyone do anything fun? We have soccer season starting back up. So I coach my daughter's team. So that's what we did Saturday. And we had soccer pictures and just birthday parties, like normal crazy kid stuff. And then it's pretty warm here. So we actually went and hung out by the pool on Sunday after church. Starting to soak up this nice sunny weather. All right, so this green and yellow anchored VWAPs, they're kind of overlapping at this point, but the yellow one is anchored at the news release. The green one is anchored at the recent high of day up here at 7:15 this morning. So I use anchored VWAPs not necessarily to like take a trade off of, but it helps me just see where the shift in momentum is. So if we start to hold above that anchored VWAP, could signal that we're headed up higher. Maybe a continuation of that news candle. We'll see though. We still have 7 minutes left in this opening range. And for now, it really just still looks choppy. If you zoom out to the 5 minute, it hasn't really done much to give us a good direction yet. It could though. It's working on it. It's working on a breakout. Why not set my anchored VWAP at the London low? I did, actually. I have this red anchored VWAP at today's low down here at 325 this morning. So I anchor them at different spots. The news candles I only do on really high volume candles. So CPI, PPI, this today for example. But usually it's just at the New York Open and then high of day, low of day. Kind of whatever applies to the price action, really. Great weekend. You laid like a sack of potatoes around the house. You must not have little kids. Either no kids or older kids, I'm guessing. My kids don't let me lay around the house and do nothing. Ah, Drifter. Man, I'm sorry to hear that. That stinks. Did you like... What do you mean you blew out your elbow? Did you like tear some ligaments or something? That sounds painful. I am watching MNQ. This is currently the 1 minute time frame. If you look at the watermark on the back, it does show what chart I'm on. Because I'll switch between like the 1 minute and the 5 minute. And that way you can see it. Alright, coming down to the New York anchored VWAP. Which indicator for anchored VWAP do I use? I just use Trading View. So I don't think you can see the left part of my screen. Let me move this over for you a little bit. So over on the left, if you're on TradingView, this, where is it? I have it on my favorites toolbar, so I have to find where it is over here. On the forecasting tools, anchored VWAP, if you click on this, and then anywhere on the chart that you click, like if I click right here, it'll anchor it at that point. So once I find that tool on TradingView, then I zoom into the 1 minute chart so it's a little more detailed. And I anchor it at the candle that I want to anchor it at. We still have 3 minutes left on this 15-minute opening range. We are starting to break above those anchor points. Kyle Abril, the projects never end when you're renovating your house. It's like as soon as you finish one thing, you're going to be doing the next. You might have your work cut out for you for a while. It's kind of trying to slowly inch its way up, but it's not convincing. It doesn't look strong. Uh-oh, someone said that Trump is talking. I like to watch the red news releases on Financial Juice. It's kind of like reading the Cliff's Notes version of the news. So I'm seeing that Trump says Iran would like to make a deal. We would like to make a deal too. And he says, if they carry through, we will end the conflict. I'm guessing that's referring to the Strait opening. I don't see anything about him talking. I don't know if these are like tweets coming through or X's. Are they called X's? I don't even know. Or if he is doing an interview. But as far as the schedule on Financial Juice, it says that the round table is later tonight at like 6 o'clock or something. But there's definitely red headlines coming up, so it's like he's talking on something. How do you set a stop loss on a pending order? How do you set it once it activates? If not, are you on TradingView or Tradeovate? East Coast Transplant. Which platform are you using? Nick Patel, how's it going? Haven't seen you in a while. Good morning. The press is talking to him outside of his plane. Yeah, definitely size down today. These are big moves. It doesn't look like it's going anywhere. It kind of looks choppy, but it's 135 point range. And with Trump talking, opening his big mouth, it could move really fast. All right, our 15-minute range is set. Kind of looks like it's trying to break to the upside. Starting to lean towards longs. It's just a matter of finding a good entry. I don't want to chase the breakout, because to me, I always look at risk to reward. There's not a ton of momentum on this move, so you would need to give it room on the chop, and that's like a 65 point stop loss. I don't love that, because we have previous day high, resistance overhead, just not great risk to reward. So what I'm going to do is wait for confirmation on the breakout, like at least a 1 minute or 2 minute candle closure outside of the range. And then maybe we can get a pullback to like the 520s or something like that. Look for something around here. Have the risk to reward be a little bit better. If that means it just blasts to the upside like a rocket and I miss it, I'm okay with that. Trying to trade a little bit more careful on a day like today. Trump just said something about the duck race being rigged. Did he specifically call me out? He said on FitMom Trader's channel, the duck race is rigged. I'll take the press, man. Maybe that's going to get me a lot of likes. Or a lot of down thumb votes. Either way, free press. Yeah, right now I have a bunch of VWAPs on. Normally it's not this crazy. But on a day like today with that crazy news candle, I like to anchor VWAPs just to, like I was saying, it helps me kind of see where the shift in momentum is. So the green and yellow ones are normally not there. Those are anchored at, the green one is anchored at today's high. The yellow one is anchored at the news candle. This red one down here is anchored at today's low, at the London low. So the normal ones that I watch are This light blue one, that's anchored at the New York Open. That's the normal one. And then the session VWAP, which is anchored at the 6 p.m. Open from last night, that's all the way down here. You can't even see it on the screen right now. So on a normal day, I just have 2 VWAPs, the New York anchored one and the session VWAP. Or daily VWAP, whatever people call it. The one anchored at the 6 p.m. Open. All right, so looking at the 5-minute, we are getting candle closures outside. But again, I don't want to chase this. Because it's pretty choppy and you would have to have a really big stop loss. So, if you entered, good for you. Looks like it's going up. If it does give us a pullback, I'll go for a long, but might not get it. What's my record number of watchers? Probably this. Yeah, I would say this. All right, I'm gonna delete this yellow anchored VWAP because it's kind of in the same spot as the green one. Don't need to have too many lines. Well, it is retesting this 15-minute opening range high. All right. I tried a long there on that bounce off of... Didn't quite come to VWAP, so I chased it a little bit. 553 was my entry. But it did come down a little bit into the range, and I'm hoping we get some continuation. Let's see. Stop loss. Like 533. Someone was asking me earlier how you enter a stop loss on an order that hasn't been opened yet, I think is what you were asking. So you can just like select your position size there, and then you enter like a buy limit, and then go to a different spot on the chart and enter your sell stop. Or other way around if you're doing shorts. There is a way to do bracket orders. You can do the OCO orders. I'm not the right person to ask how to do that. I know how to do it in TradingView if you link TradingView with Trade of 8. But directly in Trade of 8, I've never actually figured that out. So I would suggest Googling it or finding a YouTube video that explains it. It's somewhere up here on these ATMs right here. You have to like set up ATM settings. It was confusing to me, so I gave up. But the way I do it is just manually by clicking on the screen and entering a limit order, and then you can immediately click above it and click your add your stop order. Well, since price is choppy and I don't trust it, I'm going to at least move to break even. No, on Trade of 8, it does not allow bracket orders for copy trading. That's only if you're trading one account. You can, though. The workaround is if you copy trade with TradeSyncer, then you're just taking the orders on one account, and in TradingView or Trade of 8, wherever you actually place your orders, you can do the brackets, and then it'll get copied with TradeSyncer. So that's a workaround too. So previous day high is at like 661. I'm watching to see what happens there. We could also head back up to London high at 765. And then, I mean, crazy bullish home run target is up here in like the 850s. But with how choppy things are right now, I'm not expecting that necessarily. So really, previous day high 661, and then 765 for the high of day would be realistic levels. Ugly, ugly. Gold did find support off of that zone that I was talking about. I was watching it at the open though, where, let me draw a vertical line. So the 8:30, well, 9:30 open was like here. So that's kind of where I was watching. It didn't come very far into the zone before it took off. So I missed the long on gold. But yeah, it's playing out. Can we make $1,000 today? Well, that'd be nice, but I don't know. We'll see what the market gives us. Right now, it's not looking great for continuation on this trade. Nope. Coming back below that 15-minute opening range high. Let's see if it does come back down to this New York anchor VWAP at like 537-ish, 536, somewhere around there. We can try another long if it gets down there. Let's see if it holds here. Go a little lower maybe. And is it gonna hold? Oh man, this is tricky, you guys. Alright, I'm trying along again. 545.5 is where I got in. I'm only going to put it right below that wick. And if it keeps moving up aggressively, I'm going to move it to break even as fast as I can. Come on, go back up. Keep going, keep going. All right, gonna start trailing at least to break even. Make enough money to fill up my gas tank at least. Well, shoot, with how much gas prices have been going up, might need to trail my stop loss a little bit closer. A little bit further up for that, for even a tank of gas. Jeez. Can I say 2 words on how I decided to enter? VWAP. Is that 2 words or 1 word? Just kidding. So, I was still looking for longs because we broke out of the top of the 15-minute opening range, and just statistically, the trend tends to continue up more than it goes down. That just hit my stop loss, by the way. I'm out. But I was looking for longs and it pulled back to VWAP, so was looking for a continuation there. This price action sucks. 2 stop outs for like 5 points each, because I basically put my stop loss at break even. But watch, now it's going to continue up on this one. What is gold doing? Is it trending any better? Not really. I mean, those are big moves on gold, and with how big the wicks are on the 5-minute, you'd have to give it a lot of room. Like, even if you entered here on that bounce off of VWAP and, like, gave yourself room down to here, that's... I have this tool set for $200 of risk. Barely 1 contract on MGC. 1 micro. Big moves on gold. Nice. Random Barbarians getting some good trades. Passed an eval. Congrats. Alright, NQ. What is our total range for the day so far? 182 points. It feels slow, but it's really not. Like, we're almost at 200 points. I wonder if maybe we're kind of comparing it to that previous, what was that, like 700 point candle? What did it end up being? 800 point candle? So now we're like, oh my goodness, it's only moving 200. So slow. Yeah, I think the hard part is not necessarily the slow range. Like, it's a big range. It's just choppy. Like, it's not continuing. Like, you could make some money on longs right now, but you would have to have such a wide stop loss that, I mean, you could have one contract as your position, two contracts, depending on what your risk is. You'd have to size down a lot and give it like a 70-point stop loss. We got about 17 minutes until our initial balance is set, so we can see what we get there. It's coming up towards that previous day high. I don't necessarily expect previous day high to be a big problem for resistance, because it's already kind of broken through that. Like, if we're going to be bullish, I could see it coming up to that London high. I don't know. Every move up just gets slapped back down. But then buyers defend it. Like, there's definitely a fight going on. Make New York sessions great again. Oh my goodness. Somebody needs to make that hat and sell it to like all traders. I feel like that would sell well. Ministry Twitch, you might have a business on your hands. Go start a day trader apparel company. For anyone who learned how to trade while Trump has been in office, though, as soon as his time in office is over, I feel like we're all going to be bored. It's going to feel like trading the Asia session every morning during the New York stream. Gonna have to size up. Normally I do like 3 to 5 micros. I'm like, gotta throw on 10 because there's no volatility. I agree with you, Kimmer. At some point, I feel like it would get retested, but it doesn't have to happen today. It could be sometime later in the week. And, you know, from my experience, it seems like news goes along with price levels. Like, based on price action, you would think that it should come back down and retest this 23,900-ish level. I shouldn't say should. I hate using that word with price action because it can do whatever the heck it wants, but you know what I mean. So it might be related to some of the news that's coming out this week. A lot of that move up was related to Trump saying that basically the war is over. So who knows? In a couple days, they could say that Iran is not cooperating and they're not opening the strait. So war is back on. We're going to attack. That could be the thing that moves it down. Who knows? I just know it doesn't have to happen today. And with the way price is going, it probably won't happen today. Unless Trump says something. There's a shirt that says, "Is it Monday yet?" That would be a good trading shirt too. I'm guessing it's already made if you said that. It just needs to have like a chart on it. Right now I'm only trading with prop firms. I did load up my own personal account and I traded it for a couple weeks, but I had a week where I took quite a few losses and was not in drawdown, but kind of like got back to break even, or my gains were lost. So I stopped for a bit just to kind of get my confidence back. I'm okay with, not that I'm like practicing, but I'm okay with having my mistakes happen on a prop firm account, because worst case, I lose my $90 eval fee. I don't want to have mistakes and emotional like lack of confidence happening on my own money where there's a lot more risk. I trade the 50K accounts. That's what I started with when I was brand new, just because the profit target seemed a lot more achievable to hit a 3K profit target instead of 6 or 9, which is what's on some of the bigger ones. And now I stick with the 50K, because for me, 2K in drawdown is plenty. I don't need to risk more than that. I know the argument for the 150Ks is, oh, you get bigger drawdown. But you also have a massive profit target. Like, I kind of feel like that's almost a waste, because you have to trade to like $6,000 or $9,000 in profit to even pass the eval. And then once you pass the eval, you have to trade again to hit your buffer or whatever, depending on the prop firm rules. So by the time you finally get a payout, you've hit like, $15,000 in profit. If you would just do that on a 50K account, then you could already have taken a couple payouts. That's just my opinion. But I also don't trade minis, and I don't need that much drawdown. I think it helps me manage my risk using a 50K account, knowing that I only have 2K in drawdown. When I have like $3,000 in drawdown or $4,000, then I'm like, oh, I can trade minis, or I can do a whole bunch of micros, and I just start to trade stupid. That's true. The drawdown per profit ratio is also worse in the larger accounts. The 50K is better. What's my risk on the 50K accounts? I start with like $175 to $200 risk per trade. That way I have about 10 trades, 10 losses in a row before I lose the account, which based on my data and my statistics is not very likely. And my risk to reward is pretty decent. So if I lose one and then I win one, I'm going to lose $200 and then win $600 because I'm usually at like a 3-to-1 on average. So $200 works for me. And then once I build a buffer, like some of my accounts, I have like a $4,000 to $5,000 buffer. I'll trade a little bit bigger, but not much. It's usually $300 is like my big risk trade. Because, you know, with a 3-to-1 risk to reward, that's plenty. Like, I just need one trade. You've had disappointing experience with Top Step. Uh-huh. Tell me about it. I don't trade with them. I don't think I ever will. Again. My favorite ones that ensure timely payouts. My favorites are Lucid and Tradeify. So if your goal is like timely payouts, Lucid is the best. Their payouts are ridiculously fast, like 60 seconds, literally. I actually posted a video like showing that it was less than 1 minute in my account. Now that's obviously assuming that you've already done the KYC and stuff. Like, the KYC takes time. That's obvious. But for even your very first payout, from the time that you get approved for the payout, KYC, all that stuff, it might be 6 hours. But after you're approved and you're on your second, third payout with them, it's less than a minute. Tradeify is 2 to 4 hours in my experience, so still very fast. And my funded futures is 2 to 4 hours in my experience, so quite fast. Others are more like a day, like maybe 12 to 24 hours. But Lucid and Tradeify are my top two favorites. Is it always 2-to-1 risk to reward? Like, are you asking if I trade 2-to-1 risk to reward? Surfix? Anna, I'm the first person who actually made an argument for smaller accounts. You know why most people argue for bigger accounts? Because you make more money. Like, most of those prop firm traders that are YouTubers with all their codes and stuff. I mean, heck yeah, use code Krista, but I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that I think you should get a 150K account, because I don't think so. But it's because they're making 3 times the commission. That's why they recommend them. Lucid and Tradeify are available outside of the US. It just depends on the country. I think Lucid is not available in South Africa. Kyla can vouch for that one, I think. There's some limitations on countries, so it depends on where you're at. I do stream each day, each morning, New York session. Every once in a while I have something going on, so I'll miss a day. But I'm usually here. What accounts do I have? Yeah, Lucid, Tradeify. I do have my funded futures. I have a couple top 1 futures. I was trying out their new Elite Daily accounts. I'm not a fan. I wouldn't recommend. They have some really funky rules. And I think that the Tradeify Select daily account is nearly identical with the rules, like in terms of max payout and the cost and everything. They just don't have some of the silly like scaling rules and stuff that Lucid has, or not Lucid, Top One Future. So if you're looking for a daily payout account, I would recommend Tradeify for sure. I also have Trade Day. I have quite a few that I copy trade. Surfix, they do allow that, so you can actually have up to 10 accounts with Lucid. So you can have 5 that are like past and funded, that you're trading as funded, and then you can have 5 in holding that you activate immediately. I don't have that right now. I have in the past, but no, I just have 5 that I'm trading. And no, I don't always trade to a 2-to-1 risk to reward. I actually usually just trade to my levels, and it ends up being more than 2-to-1 usually. But if my next level is at a 2-to-1, then yeah, I'll take profit there. But I'm not like some traders where they take it off at 2-to-1 automatically or take it off at 3-to-1 automatically. You're asking me if I use my own code when I repurchase from Lucid? They don't let you, actually. I can't make commission off of my own code. It blocks me. So I still get the same discount, like if it's 30% off or 40% off, but I just use their generic website code. Or sometimes if I have a friend that has a code, I'll use theirs and then they use mine. So we do that. But no, I can't use my own. Oh man. All right, so we do have our initial balance set. It is 10:30. So here's our IB high. I do like that the New York anchored VWAP is sitting right at the 15-minute opening range high. So we can see if it does get down to this 568-ish level. See what happens there. You love trade day? I know, me too. What about TPT? I'm not a fan of Take Profit Trader. I actually would prefer Trade Day over them. They're very similar in rules. Like they have the 5-day eval. The difference is they don't stick you with that intraday trailing drawdown once you pass. You can buy the end of day accounts with Trade Day, and it would be end of day throughout. It doesn't switch like it does with Take Profit. Do I have a video explaining how I copy trade? I don't. It just depends on how you want to do it. Like I copy trade with Trade Syncer because I do it across multiple prop firms. If you're just trading one prop firm account, you can copy trade all of them within Trade of 8 or whatever platform you're using, and you don't need Trade Syncer. So it depends on how many accounts you're trading. Kimmer, yes. If you used my code originally and then you reset it, I do get credit. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. 25K or 50K accounts at Lucid. I personally like the 50K. The drawdown limits on the 25K is a little small in my opinion. But they're good if you're a beginner and you just want to stick with one micro and kind of just have a cheaper account to like practice on and learn on. The Tradeify Select daily account is end of day, correct? Not intraday. Once I copy trade, does it change my trading psychology? Not for me. It didn't affect it for me, I don't think. But I think you gotta scale up when you're ready and figure that out for yourself. Well, thank you, Kimmer. Yeah, Tradeify, the daily select accounts is end of day the whole time. During the eval and during the buffer stage. It does not switch to intraday. And yeah, it's a 3-day pass because there's a 45% consistency. So at least 3 days. If you do the 50K account, you can't make more than $1,000 in a day. So 1,000, 1,500 if you were to break it up like perfectly. Yes, I can share my Tradeify link. Still waiting for it to come back down to that opening range high and VWAP area. If it gets down there, I'll try long. There's Tradeify. No, I don't really use Fibonacci on NQ. I do have a gold strategy that I use it on, and I actually just posted a video a couple days ago on that. The only time I'll use it during the New York session is if I'm trying to find the midpoint of a range. So I'm really just looking for the 50%. So like today I could use it to find out where the midpoint of our initial balance range is. And what do you know? It's actually right there where a VWAP and opening range high is. So kind of gives extra confluence for that around the 562, 569-ish level. But no, I don't use Fibonacci much for that. Reasoning, I don't know, a couple reasons. I think you can get too complicated if you have way too many things that you're looking at, and I just use other strategies. Also, I think Fibonacci levels are only good in confluence with other stuff, Because to me, fibs are subjective. Like, where do you put your high and your low? And then do you trade to the 0.5? Do you trade to the 618? There's just so many variables that if there's nothing else that you're looking at, then you're kind of just guessing. And for me, at least, my win rate wouldn't be very good. Now, obviously, there's people that trade with it and it works for them, so great. But that's just me. So I wouldn't take a trade just because that was the 50% midpoint of the range. But the fact that it's also at the 15-minute opening range high and VWAP, then it kind of makes me think like, maybe that is a good level. So I hope that answers your question. No, that extra doesn't go to your funded once you pass. When you pass your eval, you start back at 50K on not just Lucid, but all prop firms. And yeah, you have to watch that consistency. On the Flex account, it's a 50% consistency. So you can't have more than $1,500 in profit on one day. If you go over, then your total profit that you have to hit goes up. Michelle, same kind of reason I was talking about with fibs. If it's in confluence with other levels, then I would take it. But I'm not going to take a trade just because it's the 25% retracement. If there was another support level there or VWAP or something, then maybe. It is holding, I mean, this gray zone that I have is a higher time frame support level with the visible range volume profile that I use. So it is kind of holding there. No, my code for Tradeify is Krista. Krista. That's the code for all of them, honestly. When did I finally become consistent and have complete faith in my strategy? Oh, still working on that one. Just keeping it real with you guys. I wouldn't say I have complete confidence, complete faith, and I'm not super consistent. I mean, yeah, I take payouts and I'm profitable, but first thing I said when I logged on today was, I don't know, you guys. I don't know what my bias is because of that giant news candle. Can you copy trade on evals? Yes, you can. Do all prop firms do this? Yes. So static drawdown, it does not move. But end of day drawdown, which is what I would say almost all prop firms use, it does trail. At the end of the day, whatever your like ending balance is, it'll trail with that. What you definitely don't want to get is an intraday trailing drawdown, because that moves even based off of unrealized profits, and that sucks. That'll get you. Once you get funded, if you don't follow consistency, your profits do not go away. Correct. You just have to trade to a bigger profit. Yeah, I don't like intraday. Everybody talks about how Apex is so awesome. Not a fan. I know they do have their new accounts that are now end of day, so awesome. But when it was all just intraday, I think the only draw, or the main draw with them, was the fact that you can copy trade 20 accounts. So people did the math and they're like, oh, if I just make like $100 a day across 200 accounts, I'm going to be a millionaire. True, but there's a lot of hoops you have to jump through to actually get a payout. Talking about the consistency rule on funded, which prop firm are you with? Pay, Yutang? Did I say 200 accounts? I meant 20. If I said 200, my bad. All right, gold, still this slow grind up. All right, coming down to that area of interest I was looking at. So 15-minute high, New York anchored VWAP, and the 50% mark for our range. See if it comes a little bit lower into like the 560s. Dang it, is it going to bounce from there and not come where I wanted it to go? Not listening to me, NQ. I said I wanted 560s. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. No. You don't select end of day. So if you do the select account, you'll have the option to do flex or daily. And they have the rules listed there. But the daily payout one, you just trade to a 2K buffer, and then anything over that 2K buffer you can take as payouts every single day, up to a max of $1,000 a day per account. So if you have 5 accounts, for example, that'd be 5K a day. I'm debating on taking a long here. Kind of wondering though, am I chasing it? Yep, now it's gone. Or you can do the Tradeify Select Flex, which is 5 days of profit. You have to wait 5 days of profit to take a payout, but your max payout is $3K per account. So they both have their pros and cons. You just figure out which one you want, and you select that at the end after you've passed your eval. So that's why I was asking. It depends on which account you have. So the ones that I trade with Lucid and Tradeify, they don't have consistency in funded. So if you have the Flex account, for example, there's no consistency rule. So you could make like $3,000 in one day and then $200 for the next 4 days, and you will get a payout because you just need 5 days of a payout or 5 days of green. But there's no consistency. Same thing with the Tradeify Select Flex and the daily. There's no consistency in the funded. So you don't have to worry about that. Find out how to connect an account in the eval. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Are you talking about TradeSyncer or how to like activate your funded account? I did take 2 trades and both of them hit my trailing stop loss. So I'm green on the day, but not by much. Might be able to take my family out for like a Chick-fil-A dinner. That's about what I got for today. No, I'm not live on Tradeify, and it's not automatically. After 4 payouts or 5 payouts, I don't remember, then they'll like evaluate you. Chris, if you chose the select account, they're all end of day. All right, coming back down to this level. Oh my goodness. I'm watching gold. It's coming down to the anchored VWAP for the New York session. I'm going to try a long on gold. So let me switch over to that screen and I'll kind of show you guys why. This is actually the strategy that I used during the Asia session where VWAP and the fibs line up. So if you take this low, I actually put it... See, this is the problem with fibs, is they're a little bit kind of subjective. So I put it there up to this recent high. And VWAP is lining up with the 0.5 and the 618. So gonna try a little long here. Stop loss right below that wick, 58.8. I currently have it on the 1 minute. Usually I watch gold on the 5 minute. Man, the markets just seem sleepy today. Is VWAP for gold set at 6 p.m.? Yeah, so I anchor one at the New York session open. So this one is anchored at 9:30 a.m. And then I do have one at the 6 p.m. open too, which is actually this gray one right there. So that's all the way down here. I don't know if this thing is going to even go anywhere. I'm going to let it play out, but it might hit my stop loss. Why 9:30 if the market opens at 8:30? Good point, actually. Gold does open at 8:20, I think, officially, Eastern time. So this is something that you're welcome to backtest. But for me, I have noticed that the influx of volume at the gold session open is not as much as it is at the New York Open at 8:30. So I anchor it at 9:30 Eastern, just because that's where the bigger amount of volume tends to come in. Not always. Sometimes more comes in at the 8:20 Eastern Open, but just by default, I set it at 9:30. Well, I am going to hop off. I actually have a meeting to go to, and this is boring. I'm just going to manage this trade from my phone. I'm probably only going to try to get to the recent high of day up here, and then as soon as I can, I'm going to trail my stop loss to at least get out at break even if it goes the other way. But yeah, I'm not convinced. This price action is slow. All right, gang. I'll see you in Discord, and I'll be back tomorrow. Have a good one, guys. Take care.